Saif Morrison, and this is This Week in Car Audio. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Yeah. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your guest, Doug Stockton, and our special guest.
You're not a guest. You're the host.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I'm multi-doing here. So, with your host, Doug Stockton, and your co-host, Team DC Lucky. Our guest this week is going to be Mr. Bobby Gately from Gately Designs. Is that what it is? Or Gately Audio? Or what are you at now, Gately?
Oh, that is the perfect freeze right there for his face. Do you see that?
Oh, it is. Dude, he froze. Awesome.
That's awesome. His internet must not be good there, but I gotta get a picture of that, dude. That's just
screenshot that.
I did. I love it. Let's see.
Oh, he is messed up.
Okay, I'm gonna start sharing this right now.
Go ahead and start sharing. I'm gonna get back here. Oops. There you go. All right. So, Bobby's going to join us shortly whenever he gets his thing straightened out. But that's a great picture of Bobby right there, I'm saying. Right off the get, we got Ant Martinez. I'm guessing that's Anthony. That's the guy who comes with Moses to the shows. I don't know. We got Tiffany watching. We got Troy Lyman watching. Tiffany says, "Hey, guys, from Barbados."
What's going on?
Hey, I hear Barbados is still in lockdown. How's that? Is that still going on down there? Miss Tiffany and Tristan both chimed in right now. So, wondering how the lockdown's going. Josh Tay2 checking in. We're waiting for Bobby to get straight out here as soon as he can figure that out. We got Thomas Selleck checking in. You guys see Lucky looking down. What he's actually doing is sharing this, just like you guys should be doing also right now. Sharing this to as many groups as you can to help us grow and get better. The more people we get and share this with, the broader range of people that could potentially see and understand what we do and invite us to do it more.
Yeah, and they're going to actually have to start doing that because I shared to 20 pages and already got
you got locked out?
I got locked out, dude. Normally I hit about 80 before that happens, so thanks a lot, guys. Let's promote, right?
Yes, please promote. I got Mike Roth in there. We got Tiffany said they're still in curfew and reduced numbers on get-togethers. COVID's making its rounds again. It's a bummer. Hey, Mike, if you can't tell, Bobby's a little Bobby, he's not unfroze, but he's not frozen anymore.
He's melting.
Yeah. He's Johnny Five in it.
Oh, dude, that is even better picture. Oh, yeah.
There we go. He's taking all these pictures of you, Bobby, if you can hear us.
Great. I can hear everything you guys are saying, and I appears that I am just frozen, and I can't wait to see the images. I don't know how you're gonna make me look any uglier, but I guess it's all good.
Yep, and you sound like a robot. That even makes it better.
That's what it is. I am actually a robot. Right? That's the secret. That's the news in car audio for this week is that I'm actually a robot.
Yeah.
Hey, so are you heading to do a little jiu-jitsu this afternoon or some hot yoga, or where are you headed?
No, I trained jiu-jitsu earlier today. I get up super early and I get to the shop, usually between 5:30 and 7 a.m. and I bust my tail until it's time to go to jiu-jitsu. I leave at about 10:45. The jiu-jitsu academy is like a mile down the road.
Mm-hmm.
We today, me and my buddy Josh, we took the Bloodbath Tahoe and we drove it down to the academy. And I couldn't get anybody from the Jiu-Jitsu Academy to get in it. They were all afraid of it. And, so, but I when we were leaving, I fired it up, and it apparently scared the crap out of everybody. They're like, "How can they be inside of that?" And it's like, "Oh, that's what we do." So, but yeah, it's pretty fun.
That thing's amazing.
I leave the shop at about 10:45. Did I lose? You get frozen again, or am I good?
Oh, you're frozen, but we can hear you like a robot. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. This is fun. So I leave the shop at about 10:45, and I get back at about 12:45, and then I usually work until 6 or 8 in the evening. And I got a little tied up at the shop for a moment. I knew I wanted to get home before 6, but you sent me the link, and I jumped in, and I was like, well, shit, hopefully I'll be home. But I had a little bit of traffic there, but I'm almost home now. So less than 5 minutes, and I'll be home and on my Wi-Fi, and we should be able to not be a robot and not be frozen making funny faces.
No, you're doing great at making the funny faces right now. You just don't know it.
Yeah, I know. I believe it. I can hear it, and I can see you guys. It's like Lucky's like, oh my God, that's the best. I'm like, oh, great, fun.
All right.
Oh, man.
Hey, so Bobby, I wanted to we brought you on here. Obviously, as far as DB Drag goes, shoot, I think you've been supporting DB Drag in my events since around like 2008, 2009, maybe at the latest. May even been a little bit before that.
I think I started the first events that I sponsored was Autorama.
That's correct.
And I think that might even have been 07, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So hopefully we get Autorama back this year. I've already tried calling the Autorama people and whatnot, and so I mean it's a possibility. So we may be able to start growing Autorama again. Get back to where we're doing 100+ cars a day out there. You know, it was
awesome.
A great show. You know.
Yeah,
I missed all that. Yeah.
You know, it was the biggest thing anywhere. Autorama in Sacramento was the biggest car audio event anywhere in its time.
Yeah.
And that was where it wasn't really until demoing happened that it started to be a problem, you know?
Well, we kind of got that worked out. I actually had a deal with the chief of police that's actually on they have their own police and their own police force at Autorama, or at the Cal Expo. And so I had a deal with them. There were a couple of cops that really didn't like what we did. And so I just let him know, hey, you know what, it's Autorama again this year. And we actually had those cops transferred to a different section of the park. And that's when you start seeing like Rusty and Anna were giving cops demos in their vehicles and some other stuff like that. That's when that started after we got that. You know, we did have 2 years there where it did create some issues. You're absolutely right.
Man.
With the Brazilians.
I saw there was some drama cracking off. Some of the guys were legitimately upset, but their response to the police were just making everything exponentially worse. It was like, oh God, it was like what a nightmare. And you know me at first when people start I tend to have very strong arguments for things that I believe in case people didn't already know that. But I remember addressing the police officers being like, you are out of line. Like, you should check. He's like, I know that you can get away with whatever you want to, but the reality is you're wrong and you're doing this wrong. And the cop's like, no, we're getting complaints. And I'm like, too bad. Yeah, there's a giant event going on here. Don't buy your house next to a freaking, fairgrounds if you don't want to hear loud noises. It's absurd. And I'm just like, go away. Go find criminals. I bet there's somebody smoking meth somewhere in this complex. Go find them. That's who you need to go after. There's, there's some shithead on meth plotting to steal some shit out of this event, and you're over here giving people shit for doing what they paid to be here to do.
Yeah.
And the cop was hella pissed, but then he kind of laughed it off and was like, like, how am I going to argue with this guy? Because he's right,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, some of the Yehoo guys, I'm not going to name any names, are like firing up their audio systems, like, to spite them and be a dick. And it was like, that was a bad idea. And things went pretty south for a period of time. And then I don't know what magic you worked, Doug, but it kind of panned out. And an hour later, we were able to kind of go back to what we were doing, sort of,
Yeah, we had that year where that happened. Then somebody started posting online that you can't demo there or anything. The next year we had limited demos, but then after that, like I said, when we had the limited demos, I think it detracted from the show so much that I went and had a talk with the chief of police out there, and like I said, we ended up getting that all straightened out. The following year, we had 0 issues, and then up until when we stopped it, we didn't have any demoing restrictions or issues. It was actually a really good show. The Brazilians, they all had the speakers in the back, very similar to Brett Barber did at Nyman's, not last show, but the show before, right? And they would take one set of RCAs and link all the cars, all 20 of them together. And dude, and they were just ungodly loud. But the thing is they would go off separate from everybody else and do that, and they would have a dance party out there. And every one of them paid to come in. Now, that was okay. So at first I had to talk to the police. We got all that stuff worked out. Said, hey, yeah, this is what we're doing. But then they brought in alcohol, and it is forbidden, because Autorama makes money off alcohol sales.
A lot.
One cup alcohol, 1 cup beers, like $9. And it costs
I thought they were
like 12 cents.
So when I went to the Autorama that they had a couple of years ago or whatever, for a hot dog and a soda, and I think that was it actually. A hot dog and a soda, maybe a little bit of fries, was $22.
Yeah. So there's a big deal. We can't supply food or alcohol, right? And so anyway, they cops came up, said, hey, look, we're gonna let you guys. We're not even gonna hassle you guys. We're gonna let you guys do your thing. Just don't open any of your coolers and don't take out any alcohol. And I am not kidding you. 2 minutes after the cops left, freaking coolers wide open, people pouring out cups. And cops like, dude, I just saw you. I mean, all of a sudden, cops from everywhere, lights on. Boo! You guys are out of here. And kicked the Brazilians out, and they never came back.
That sucks. Hey, do you guys have good video of me now or no?
We do.
Yes, you sound like a human now, and you look good.
Yep.
I am no longer a robot.
That's right. But anyway, so hey, tell us a little bit about your shop, and that kind of thing. What you got going on with your stuff at the moment?
Well, right now at Gately Audio, we just made a couple of pretty fancy upgrades to our CNC router, and see if I can get this phone set up to where I get some lights. Made a couple upgrades to the CNC router. Made a couple of slight changes to the vacuum table system, and I modified. I made a new tool rack to hold 14 tools rather than 8.
Okay.
And because there are projects, or there are enclosures that we use multiple tools to cut all the parts out, and we've been able to set it up to hold 14 tools, and because there's a few things where we're using 9 and 10 different things we want to do, and certain drills and stuff like that. So improving efficiency there. And then we figured out we were having a very slight issue that when you magnify it over, 50, 60 boxes a week, there's a lot of time struggling with it, and it's a little different, box to box. We were having material thickness inconsistencies. Now, I'm pretty sure anybody that hears me say this, any builder guys are like, what? Well, if your 1-inch Baltic birch that normally comes in at like 0.9375, so 15/16 of an inch.
Right.
If it comes in at 0.91, the way that my dado tenon assemblies fit together, and the way that the sides and back and top fit on, or sides and back fit onto the top, because of that tiny bit, now we're a 32nd of an inch different. And so my technicians would kind of have to fight the material a little bit here or there. And then in really severe situations, we'd get the material and it'd be all the way down to like 0.89, or worse is it'd be 0.97. So much thicker even. And occasionally, we would have little blemishes on the box because of that material thickness struggle, and certain things wouldn't go together quite the way that we wanted to, and myself or any of the techs could, grab the parts, and even if they were a little off, we could get through building the box, but we'd be kind of wrestling with them a little bit, unless they were right within, just a few hundredths of an inch of the spec. Right?
Well, recognize, I'm just, for people that aren't paying attention, Bobby's talking thousandths of an inch here, because his tool is a precise instrument, right? So a thousandth of an inch, I think, what's a hair like?
Well, not
200ths of an inch,
like 100th of an inch. When it's a couple of hundredths of an inch is a struggle. Now it's wood, so you can kind of mush things together.
Right.
Thousandths of an inch would be, but hundredths of an inch are like, I mean, we get it done, and we've gotten them done, and they're I think we make a great product. But I every once in a while, my technicians would come to me and be like, these things were fitting together kind of funny. I don't know why. And so now, for a period of time, we'd have a caliper, and as we unloaded the sheets of material, we'd measure a few of them. We'd verify that they were all, the whole batch was going to be the same. And then I'd go, okay. And I'd go and sit down at the computer, and I'd change the material thickness in my software. Well, if I had to do that every time, that'd be kind of a pain in the butt, a lot less of a pain in the butt when my technicians fighting with it. But what I've done is, through, countless hours, when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about stuff, sometimes like the middle of the night, a few hours of good sleep, you wake up and you're like, speaker boxes. And then all of a sudden I'm figuring out how to build things, or sometimes improve my products. But there was a lot of nights where I was just up in the middle of the night, and that was like, how do I deal with that freaking pain in the butt, and I've developed a way, and we have this terminology that we describe as dimensional datoing. So where the parts fit together, I'm machining them down to 0.89, which is the thinnest I've seen. So anywhere where the boxes are fitting together, and also and then I'm making the corresponding pieces longer to fit that. So now the first small group of them that we've done. Now, mind you, this takes a complete re-engineering of every single box individually. Now we've designed kind of a formula in the software that we design in the 3D software that we design in now, to kind of make these boxes, and it's pretty reasonable-ish, but sorting out the yield off of the material, like the cut sheet, and trying to be as efficient as possible. I mean, so not only are we trying our best to use every bit of the material we can, because the material costs so much money. I don't know if anybody's aware, but lumber prices are not cheap now. Even getting our hands on it has been a challenge. So we have been paying a bit of a premium for the material. And, we have a problem at our shop. We dump our dumpster twice a week, and it's a big ass dumpster.
Damn. Yeah.
And we fill it every time, like to the brim. So if I can find a way to make as little waste off of the sheets as possible, that helps a lot. I mean, the dumpster thing is a bit of an issue. There's the tattoo shop, and another tenant in the shop has like his business that he stores his vehicles and jet skis and boats and shit that he rents out. And he has a reasonable, I mean, it's a very reasonable small amount of garbage, but he's like, the dumpster's full again. And I'm like, you can like leave your garbage with me, or like he pulls up and I'm like, don't throw any garbage in until he dumps his stuff, because I don't want to hold his garbage. I'd rather keep bags of sawdust in my shop, than hold his, I don't know, beer can garbage, whatever, you know what I mean? And so it's like, we have this regulating the dumpster because it's so much work. And we've asked if they could dump 3 times a week, and it's going to be significantly more, and we're already paying a few $100s a month, and they want to tack like $100 more, and it's kind of a debate. And we're like, when do we reach the point where we have to have the dumpster dump 3 times a week to help? And it would only kind of help, because we would just fill it up more. It's at a point now that we're controlling that level, and we would immediately still need to have a similar control of that. I mean, just the dumpster. I mean, you run 10 sheets of 1-inch plywood in the machine, and you're gobbling up a whole bunch of it.
Oh, yeah.
You fill the dust collector up, and it's 2 big bags. A cat just fall right now, like next to me. I don't know. That was weird.
Lucky usually has a cat walking around in front of his screen when we're doing this. So
yeah.
My cat will dive across.
And once they figure out that I'm up here and I'm talking and I'm working, they'll probably all want to come and see what's going on.
Yeah. So with what you're saying right there, that always reminds me of, I mean, you and I have actually had this conversation too, is where when you're paying for someone's time, you're not just paying for the time that you are occupying of theirs right now. For somebody that's a craftsman or a journeyman in something, or a master level, whatever they do, you're not paying for those moments. Like somebody comes in your shop, well, hey, yeah, I need you to build me a box. Well, hey, I can slap one out here in about 45, 50 minutes for you. Well, you're charging $600. Well, it's not because that's 45 minutes. You don't know the 400 hours I have into designing the box. Then I got another 150 hours in putting it into a program. Then I got another 100 hours of modifying that program to make it work. So when people complain about prices from people at journeyman level or master level, which you definitely, you're in the realm of master level in woodworking and whatnot as far as boxes go. And, I've seen some other stuff you built. Absolutely great, gorgeous woodworking. They're not paying for those moments that they have you. They're paying for all your time and your errors, so that you're not erring and spending excessive time on theirs also. And that's some people don't understand.
When people are like, oh my God, it's, his double 12 box is $525. That's crazy. It's like, well, that's also with shipping. And that's all 1-inch Baltic birch material, and it's all the shipping material, and it's all the time that we spent developing it to make it perform how it is. And I mean, often I don't even see those things. Like, right? I designed it. I handed that one off. My technicians are cutting the parts. They're building it, and I'm at my computer designing. And, about every hour or so, because I can hardly stand to sit at a computer all day, even though I really spend most of my day there, I get up and I go fill my water bottle up. And I was like, maybe I should bring my water system thing into my office area that's across the parking lot. And I'm like, well, no, because it gives me, a reason every hour and a half or so to go wandering through and see how everybody's doing and check on and see what's going on and kind of get updates on things. We are constantly trying to improve every single little thing that we do, so yeah, it's when people are paying a premium price, they're not just paying for that moment. They're not paying for my technician to spend an hour assembling that box. They're paying for all of the time and experience and development that it took to get there, and to cover all of the overhead and the freaking 14-foot tall dust collector and you know, and $100,000 CNC machine that, you know, is busting its ass. That's the robot, and that thing's running, you know, 6 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to keep up with all these boxes, you know. And you know, when somebody orders a custom box, I actually had this exact conversation with a customer this morning. He sent an email and said, like, hey, I have these Rockford 10-inch subwoofers, and they want 1.5 foot each. So I want a custom 3 cubic foot 210 box. And I was like, you know, and he gave me some dimensions, and I explained, I said, you know, a custom order of this size will start at $1,060 shipped, and go up from there depending on complexity. And that's an expensive speaker box, but based on the amount of time that I would have to spend setting up the design work, handing it off to my engineer that is going to post out the file, like we call it post out the files, is set it up so that the CNC will cut all the parts so it all snaps together like Legos, print out a packet to hand off because it's a custom order, because it's different than a regular production box, hands it off to an assembly technician. And these assembly technicians that are building the custom boxes are getting paid a premium. They're paid well. A lot of people complaining about getting employees and finding employees and nobody wants to work. I don't know. I got guys lining up pretty steady, and a lot of them have a lot of skill, and because I pay really, really well. So, you know, would it make you less mind my pricing if you knew that my employee was actually able to you know, provide for his family and eat and have an environment that he can safely work in, and not be some broke guy struggling that's disappointed with his job? That should be a thing, right? So anyway, I pay people pretty well. So you're paying a premium. They're going to spend a little more time on this custom box, and then, you know, shipping is astronomically expensive right now. If you think that material prices are a problem, shipping is way worse. And FedEx and UPS are making way more money on my products than me or Sky High or anybody involved is. And it's kind of sad and disappointing to some degree, but you know, they have us. And the reality is that they are providing the service that I don't have a real knowledge of what they're really providing and what it takes to do so. So I have to take their word for it if I'm going to use that product, right? Or that service that they provide. So,
hey, Lucky, are we getting any questions in the comments? You seeing anything pop up there, sir?
Let me jump up in here.
Okay.
How much is it for a box? No.
Hey, I need a deck and two. Can I bring it by tomorrow? And is it $20?
Yes, it's $20, and you can install it yourself in my parking lot. Yeah. No.
So we got Tiffany. Hey guys, Tristan, what's going on? They're from SQ Sounds in Beardstown, Barbados. Josh Tattoo said what's up. Spencer, hey from Canada. Santiago, good afternoon, fellas. Mike Raff. Let's see. Aunt Martinez. I'm looking for questions, but also giving shout outs, obviously.
Yep. Remember, hit the smash and the like buttons.
Yeah, smash that like button.
Yep. Hit the hearts, the thumbs up. Give us all of that love you can. Remember to share this with everybody. And shortly after this, remember, we put this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any place you get your podcast. They're an audio-only version. And it will be also on YouTube shortly following the show. Usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour. It will be up in all those places. Yeah, find anything yet, Lucky?
Mike Graff said he remembered when they were doing that at a show you did in Gilroy,
we did
early
one
2000s.
Yep, we did. Yes, sir.
So custom door pods. Anthony Johnson. I don't know if he's asking if you do them or whatever. Brett Barber said, "What's going on, guys?" How do you? Okay, Bobby, you got into it. Okay, so Tristan from SQ Sound said, Bobby, how did you get into the cardio installations and customizing?
So I was about 14 years old, and so when I was, yeah, it's kind of the long story short. When I was really young, um, my dad would build custom show cars for himself and at first for my mom, and they had 69 Corvettes, not a total of like the year 69 Corvettes, beautiful Corvettes, and my dad worked his ass off relentlessly making these beautiful ultra clean cars, and he drove his like concours winning beautiful Corvette every day, rain or shine. He drove that thing to work, and he didn't work very close either. And it was fast, and it was really awesome. And I think about it now, and it's like pretty impressive that he did that, because that is like pretty unheard of for such an incredibly clean car.
What year was it?
It was a 69, the year 69.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Gorgeous Stingray vet.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun. And I would help him, and I would climb around, and he would talk about what he was doing to it and why. And it was just kind of osmosis, attention to detail that I kind of caught on to. And then I always kind of had a knack for building things, and Legos when I was really young, and every other building, connects and erector sets and all kinds of crap like that. And I built everything, cranes that operated and all kinds of stuff. And then my stepdad, my mom's next husband, a guy named John, and he was an electrician, but he was like super handyman. He could build freaking anything out of wood stuff and metal work. And his buddy owned a machine shop, and we'd go over there and machine parts for my RC cars, and I would build RC cars. And so I learned about 12 volts from RC cars. And I learned a lot about relatively simple woodworking, all the way to like small scale fine work woodworking from my stepdad. Building little stuff. He made this like mirror assembly for my mom for in the bathroom, because she wanted this certain type of thing, and they didn't make exactly what she wanted, so he made it. It was super cool, and I helped him do that. And then we built this big ass deck and a hot tub and all kinds of shit, and I helped him with all of that. And then I was like 14 years old, and a buddy of mine paid this guy a lot of money. It was like $300. Mind you, this is like 89, 90, right? Like the year 1989, 1990. A buddy of mine paid this guy like $300, and we were making like $6.13 or $6.33 an hour as grocery store baggers or something like that at this kind of time. And he paid this guy like $300 to build him a box, and the guy built him a fourth order bandpass box that was like, it was kind of really funky. And they kept on like the guy was like, yeah, I'm tuning it, and he would like cut the port bigger, and it was just a hole, and it was like, yeah, and it's louder, and he kept cutting it bigger, and it was like kind of oblong. And I'm like, I don't understand, why is he kind of, I didn't get his approach entirely. Like I wasn't really feeling his vibe. He's a little older than us, and he was a little weird, and obviously some 17-year-old kid, his knowledge level usually isn't like super extended. And I was pretty critical of what he was doing and why he was doing it. And I kind of was like, I would definitely do that kind of shit myself. I'm pretty sure I would. I'd rather me do that, And then my buddy Jason Polovich, he's one of my best friends in the world still to this day, and his older brother gave him some like 10-inch Rockford like Series 1s, and we built a box for those things. And I was like, I'll build that for you. And I'll tell you right now, this box that I built was absolute garbage. It was like, we used like particle board that was shelves. So we bought like, I was like, oh, I can use this material because it's already dimensionally accurate. And so I got, but then I realized it was a little flexy. So I made all these like braces, and I was like, black silicone and I would just black silicone these things in. I just scuffed the surface, and I'm like, it'll adhere, and it would have ripped the material right apart because the material was so fragile it would have ripped itself apart. But it was pretty funky, and it was braced all crazy, and it was definitely single baffle. But knows my single baffle rants that I go on, but nonetheless, it was funky, and I conquered it though, and it worked pretty well, even though I worked on it for like a day and a half. And it was pretty ugly and ridiculous, but it worked. And I mean, it was real bad. I've seen significantly worse done by people that called themselves professionals that were grown men. So I don't want to give the like wrong idea, because I got kind of like little like side note is, I don't know if you guys remember on April Fools, I posted that picture, that like tweaker box that the customer had kind of left in my shop. Some tweaker built him a box, and it was really atrocious, and it looked like crap. And we stuck a Gately placard on it, and we put it on as it was a new product on April Fools, right? And man, this guy, I can't remember what the dude's name is. He got all super mad about it, and would like screenshotted it, and then like reposted it and was like, oh, stay humble, know where you came from. And I was like, I never came from that. Like, I built some ugly shit, man, but I ain't never built like that, bro. Like the holes weren't round, and I'm like, but anyway, so
hey, hold real quick. Tristan says you're the first person on this podcast that didn't start with Radio Shack realistic speakers. So as our first speaker,
no.
So you're the first one, according to Tristan.
Yeah. the first speakers that I owned for me were way worse. They were what's funny. I didn't even realize this is hysterical. They were 8-inch subwoofers. My Pyramid
Phase 3.
No, way worse. Way worse.
They don't make them worse.
Fuck yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They did, and it's going to be fucking hysterical when I hit you with the punchline. So, my sister's boyfriend, this guy named Gilbert, and he was this funny, crazy ass dude. He was a grown ass man, and he made a lot of money, and he had a pretty cool ass car, and he got some pretty badass 8-inch subwoofers, and he needed a box, and he was like, I ain't got time to build one. This and that. And I was like, I'll build one, I'll build it. And he's like, no. He's like, hey, let's just go to the flea market, and we'll pick up one of their 8 boxes, and it'll be like $40-50, and we'll be good to go. And I'll put them in, and then later on sometime, you and I together will build one. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And he goes to the flea market, and he's trying to buy this box, and they didn't have one that didn't have subs in it. And they were like trying to find one. He paid for it. And then they were like, oh, he's like, you want to just take the subs out? And they were like, fuck it, you can just have it with the subwoofers. And he was like, okay. He's like, I'm just going to they're like, throw them away. Whatever, who cares? Right. And he paid like $35 for this box, right?
Including 2 subs.
So he gave me those subs. These subs were 8s, and they had these tiny little motors, and the sticker on the front was like a vinyl cut sticker, but it was stuck on the like kind of foamy dust cap, so it was like falling off before the speaker was even operating. And this is what's fucking hysterical about it, and I have never even made this connection until this very moment. Okay. The name on the speaker was Alpha. And if you guys don't remember,
I remember
my subwoofers, we have the Alpha series and we have the Relentless series. So there you have
Going back to old school right there.
Well, I guess so, but I've never even thought of that. I think the name Alpha came from I think it was John Raby's idea, because I talked to John about the subwoofers when we were developing them. John was a big help in helping me figure it all out, and working with the manufacturers and things of that nature. But that's really hysterical to me.
Yeah.
That the first woofers I ever had were called Alphas, and they were like,
and they had they
were like literally garbage. Yep. They were like, yeah, you could just throw them away, whatever you want to do with those things. and like the stickers fell off the cone before I was playing music in them.
They got to the car.
Yeah, hold on. But I built myself. It was like the third speaker box that I had ever built. and it was for myself, and I built it as a 4th order bandpass, and it was kind of funny. I didn't know, like, I didn't know how to make the port, and so I thought it was a good idea, and I had this 1.5-inch paddle bit, and so I just drilled like 8 holes in a pattern. And it was kind of weird, and I was like, oh, I guess I should cut that out. And I cut it out with a jigsaw, and that made it a little better. And then, like, I was like, I wonder if I made this, like if I had one of those tubes for it, and I need a tube, and I took like a 4-inch piece of PVC and whittled around it and like filled the gaps, and and then it sounded better, and it was all sticking out. It was kind of crooked and shit, but anyway, it was pretty fun, and it was impressively kind of loud, and
I found some alpha speakers.
What's that?
I found some alphas.
Was there really a brand?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember it.
Not Alpha Sonic. Alpha Sonic. Just Alpha.
No, it says just Alpha. Is Alpha Sonic the one that kind of looks like the Christian fish thing?
I don't know.
The Christian fish logo, you mean?
Yeah.
Like the little outline thing? Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, I did find some alphas. I had them posted up here for all the people that are at home can see it.
So mind you, this is like 1989, 1990, maybe 91 even at the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were my first ever speakers. The first ones I ever paid for were 2 10-inch pile drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And
hey, pile was the crap back then, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome.
Oh,
Driver was Pile Driver, and I talked about this when I was on the podcast last weekend when I was at the Sundown Show. Pile Driver had the absolute best commercial for any kind of car audio thing ever, and it was like helicopter view from way up above a street and off to the side, and there's like a car coming down the road. The car's so small in this commercial video coming down the road, you can't identify what it is, but it's nighttime, and you can hear the bass pounding, boom, 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 as it's coming down the road, and as it's coming down the road, all the lights are turning on all of the houses and buildings as it's passing by, and it was like, and then it like just kind of lit up in the corner, boop, and it was like Pile Driver, and I was like, that was awesome. And I just thought it was super funny, and I was super interested in it as a young man that didn't really know much of anything about car audio, but that commercial would make me smile and giggle like, I want to do that shit. So that was, and then the first, and these were used, the first brand new speakers I ever bought were Kicker Comp 12s. And this is where my real passion for box building happened, was in this moment, because I looked inside their book. I've always read instructions. My dad and my stepdad both really like stressed that you should really read the shit out of the instructions really well before you even start. Understand all of them before you start doing any of the steps. And I'm reading the book, and I'm like really looking at all the detail, and there's like box information, and then there was a phone number at the bottom. And so the next morning I called Stillwater Designs Kicker, and I spoke to a woman named Lori, and I believe she's still there at Kicker, of what I'm told. I haven't spoke to her, but I ended up communicating with this woman for years about box designs, and she was amazing. She was such a big help. Like I wouldn't likely be doing what I'm doing. My wife is smarter than me, so she turned a light on that makes my face look less like a shiny spot, and like more like 5 shiny spots. But anyway, that's me. So I talked to Lori, and I was like, I want to build a band pass. And she went, oh, well, we have specifications. We can provide you for that. And she explained it, and then she's like, well, here's another one here, and here's this one. And I was like, whoa, what's different? She's like, well, we do the designs in our software and stuff, but we test it. and this one has been tested and performed extremely well. And this one did pretty good, but in it's this and this, she kind of broke down a little bit of the differences between the two, and how, you know, one of them was much, much larger. And so it wasn't quite as loud at its peak, but it was, you know, a little smoother bandwidth. She's basically describing all of this to me in terms that I could understand as like a 17-year-old kid. And when she kept on mentioning, yes, we've tested this and it was really good, and we've tested, and here's a couple others that we have not tested, so we're not sure. And they were like relatively subtle differences. I mean, I guess it's pretty significant, but it's like, you know, and I remember a bunch of these specs in my mind. They're just stuck there. But like, it was like 1.13 on the sealed side and 1.45 on the ported side for this, you know, Kicker Comp 12. And they had different power handling ratings for the different size boxes, which was really interesting. Mm-hmm. And I built like all of them. Like she sent me dozens and dozens of design. I would even test them and then call her up and like, yeah, and this one wasn't as good compared to this one or that one. And she'd be like, oh, that's good to know. And I'll make a note in all of our stuff about that. And I really started to, that was when I really understood, NASA makes test rockets that they don't put people in because, you know, the math doesn't always pan out. Right. So if you can put forth the extra effort to do some testing to create something even better than what the software does, then you're gonna make improvements, you know, all the way down to, you know, you build a box and you build it with like an arrow port so that it's real reasonable to, you know, shorten it or make the hole a little larger and put a larger one that's longer and play with it to see what's going to give you more output. You know, often the enclosures, new development, especially the truck boxes, for a period of time, when we would do our testing, I would make the port area a little larger, and then I would, you know, figure out what it would change in tuning. And sometimes in the software, it would be pretty accurate based on what it did. But sometimes when we would test it with Steve's SG1, we would find that it wasn't entirely as accurate, and the tuning frequency didn't change much. And there's certain things that can cause strange anomalies in tuning. And sometimes there's things that you just overlook that you don't realize. I caused a weird tuning issue in one of Lucky's boxes by putting my big Gately shield in the back. It reduced the space between the back of the port and the back wall of the box. And it kind of created a coupling between the back wall of the box and the port that was in Lucky's box. And it brought the tuning down like 2 cycles lower than we expected. And it was like, what the hell caused that? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not accounting for that back wall actually being an inch closer than I designed the box to be, because we wanted to put that shield in there because
Daily
people
shield,
were, yeah. So anyway, so we do this testing and we go, okay, we test the whole box and like Getty or Ray come in and they go, well, it's not louder. We actually lost, a couple tenths at the peak. And I go, oh, and they're like, yeah, but dude, if you look here, it's, averages a dB and a half louder across the bandwidth. So and then you get in and listen to the vehicle and you compare to the old version of the enclosure and you're like, shit, this is much better. And because you're listening to music and it's playing all over in the bandwidth. So, if you had 2 boxes that were very similar and one had a little bit peaky and it peaked a little better at, right around 40 Hertz, it was just a tiny bit louder, but down at 30, it was a dB and a half louder. And at around, 50, it was a dB louder. If you're listening to music, you're going to go, no, this one's louder because it is for what you're doing. And that's the kind of, development and testing that we've done with the product. And I believe that this is the kind of stuff that Kicker was doing, or this is my interpretation of what they were doing 27 years ago when I was on the phone with Lori and she was going, we've tested this one and it performed extremely well. and that meant a lot. It meant that testing was necessary to find improvements and make things sound awesome. I was blown away when I've had customers that go, yep, and I put the box and I put it in my trunk and there it is. And I'm like, have you tried, scooting it around or aiming it one corner or scooting it to the back or flipping it around or putting it sideways? And my buddy Glenn Privet, you guys know Glenn, right? Glenn Privet is this brilliant man. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but he's a smart dude. And he came in and picked up one of like the production prototype double 12 boxes from me and a couple of Audio Dynamics subwoofers. And he was like, he drove into the shop and he was like shooting the shit with us. And he opens up his trunk and his box is sitting at this like funky angle. And I'm like, is it just sliding around? No, that's where I got it right now. And I'm like, oh, and it was like weird ass angle. And he's like, I'm trying all kinds of different stuff. And he was like, it's really good facing sideways, like across the board. Like everything is amazing with the box pointed sideways right in the middle of the trunk. If I push it to one side, it loses a little. If I push it a little too close, it loses a little. And I'm like, how much of this are you doing? He's like, oh, I have this book, and he had like a notepad. And he's got like dimensional information. And he's going up just up his ears. He doesn't have a meter. Right. He's just like driving around, smoking cigarettes and listening to the box in different positions in his trunk.
Slide that one more inch.
Yeah, dude, for real, just like that, right? I mean, just like you would do it in a SPL rig, right? Yep. I mean, obviously your boxes are always like squeezed in and don't have any room, but if you had some, you would for sure be all over the place. I know you. Yep. So, and then eventually he shows up and he's like, I've decided that my favorite is the box flipped around, subs facing forward, all the way up against the trunk. And the reason why, and he's like, oh, and the quarter wave, and it lands like 30 hertz, like right at the headrest, like right where my head is. And, most music that's in that range, he's like, it's a little bit pickier. There's certain songs that don't do quite as well as some of the other configurations, but overall, most of the songs I really like are really excellent with it right here. So that's where I'm just going to keep it. And I loved it because it was a lot of information and it's really contrary to anything that any of us are doing in the trunk of a car. Now, mind you, it made it pretty useless for his, big body BM or Audi and his big ass trunk to have this big ass box all the way up against the tree. You open up the trunk and it's like box. Yeah. It's like, tuck stuff around in front of it or something.
Wasn't a grocery getter. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're going to have all your groceries on the back seat. The back seat's flipped up and you're losing half of your base anyway, or whatever.
Yep.
But anyway, so, testing is what that's like, what's the secret ingredient? How did you do it? How did you get where you're at? I'm like, I just kept testing shit and not being so, like overconfident and sure about anything. You're like, is this going to sound great? I'm like, I think so. I'm confident. I really hope so. I'm going to try my best. And I'm for sure going to build it and know what I could have done to make it better. And sometimes I can look right at something as soon as it's done and we turn it on and I go, oh shit, I know how to make this so much better. Even though it's pretty goddamn good, I'm going to go ahead and throw this away and start over because it's going to be amazing. I don't do that super often now because hopefully at my experience level, I'm hitting really, really strong ones and I don't have any like crazy miraculous ideas, but if I did, that'd be a lot of fun because if I can blow my own mind at this point with like some really cool idea that's going to get us a ton of output.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to be really excited and I'm for sure going to jump on it because obviously it pays pretty well. Like I mean, I'm not, rolling around in money or anything, but, being able to, have a career, building speaker boxes is kind of a dream come true on so many levels that if you go back to all the guys I was in high school and gals in high school, that it was obvious I really enjoyed this and had a passion for it. So, lucky me, I fucking did it. And I really appreciate all the help that I get from, both of you guys and all of our customers over all the years of making this really happen and believing in us, so, but yeah.
So, hey, look right there over your left shoulder there. Let's see here. Yeah, left shoulder.
Do what you love what you do.
That's what it says right over your left shoulder.
Yep. Oh, it sure does.
Do what you love what you do.
This is my wife's office. This is where she sits, and she's got her 2 design monitors. She's a graphic designer. She's absolutely brilliant. She's definitely makes a huge improvement to not only Gately Audio, but me as a person. She makes me strive to be a better person because
I will say 100%. 100%. I believe that 100%. I met Bobby had me stay at his house one time. I had like a late show and then I had an early show both in Sacramento. Yeah, and Bobby let me stay at his house, and I mean that was really the first time I ever like met his wife, and she's a way awesome lady. She did a great job, and she from what I seen in that short time, she really challenges Bobby. I mean, to be better. She absolutely does, and she wasn't holding anything back, and she was supportive. And, I mean, just truthfully, from what I've seen and what I've talked to you about, she's supportive and challenging. Yeah, great. That's a great combination, right? For me,
reminds me of things that are important, and people to make sure I'm caring for their giving them the attention that they deserve in whatever angle they need to be, and she helps a whole bunch with stuff at the shop. She built our website with a little bit of help from our friend Patrick, and and she takes care of payroll for all the guys, which and on all the stuff in QuickBooks, and that shit was like crash course in brain surgery for her. She was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm like, good luck. You wanted to use this shit, and she got through it. She got some training, and man, and she's awesome at it now. She's right on top of everything. Really pretty exciting. She's left her job at the bank she was working for, and she's going to do some freelance work, but also
cool.
A big reason is to be a more full-time assist us at Gately Audio. I mean, she's already been working for us since I met her, but now she's going to be doing even more, controlling a lot of helping with orders and updating the website and adding more products. We're going to have a lot more products. We're going to add all the B2 audio products to our site real soon. We're super excited. We already got DC and Terra amps and audio control, and we're doing well with those products. So it's
I think somebody actually asked if you were going to come out with your own amplifier.
Someday I really hope so. Developing amplifiers, even getting an amp, even getting an amplifier built with your, like getting
your specs.
One of the best Korean boards and built right, and making sure that you really have the working knowledge of what are the good components and that shit is expensive. And the guys that are like, oh yeah, you just sting a bra and you say it sticks their name on it and I'd be like, okay, I mean, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. And some guys are like, everybody is doing it. I'm like, I don't know, there's like 20 companies and there's like billions of people on the planet, so I'm sorry, not everybody is doing it. I do like the idea of having a couple of features that set it apart, that make it a little better, at least in my eyes. And I actually have a couple of really good ideas on how to take some of the existing high performance products and make, I one of my previous careers in the process of getting to have Gately Audio, I worked as an electronics technician, and I have a pretty reasonable understanding of what electricity is doing and why, when it comes to especially the power section of an amplifier. And like all with all the stuff with RC cars, you get this little tiny scale, you get this little itty bitty speed control, and has these big badass input blocks and stuff. And some of the way car audio amplifiers, they have these big badass input blocks, and they have these little puny traces. And it's like, I'm like, man, that could be that's an easy spot to improve, and then when amps burn up, you're like, nah, look where it burned, right in that little puny ass spot right there. And then, like I've seen John Nolte. I love John Nolte. He is fucking brilliant. I wouldn't.
Awesome.
I learned so much from John. It gives you a headache sometimes. He starts talking, and you're like, oh, I can't keep up. Stop. And but I've seen him repair amplifiers that were like meltdown, like part of the board is like burnt. He's like, oh, just like refabbing traces and running wires in place, and you're like, oh, and not only I'm fixing it, but I'm kind of souping it up. And I'm like, well, man, if you did all of that to amp beforehand, you are like now supercharging an amplifier. Like you actually made this amplifier better for your repair, even though it had been on fire. Like I watched fire come out, and then he made it better. You know. Right. So anyway, and like we're like, man, we gotta like frame this amplifier. It's just this legendary itty bitty 8,000 watt Brazilian amp that's just like beasting out in his Blazer, and you know. But anyway, so I would really love to do amplifiers. It will take a pretty significant amount of attention and a shitload of money that I don't really have.
Sir.
And I'm a little scary about getting significant financial backing, but it just might happen. But someday I think we're gonna do more with some more subwoofers, and I have some ideas on some component speakers. I think the order of, well, for my business, the order that seems to make the most sense for me is obviously to do subwoofers because they go with our boxes, and I can build like boxes that are really, really amazing for our subwoofers that might, you know, be give us an advantage to our product in our product over many other companies. And we put a lot of testing into our subwoofers, and the fact that we manufacture boxes makes it real easy to test those subwoofers to make them even better and better and better. Right. So obviously subwoofers, and then once we got a pretty good product line of subwoofers going, I'm hoping to do some component speakers and you know, high end, you know, compression horn tweeters and things of that nature to go with those subwoofers. And then I think we'll get into amplifiers. So, but yeah.
Okay. Just real quick, Bobby, I'm trying to look it up right now, but there was a brand at CES, and I believe it was called Symphony, not Crescendo's Symphony, but it was a Symphony.
Yeah.
Symphony. Yeah. There you go. Dude, like, their amplifiers were standalone. I mean, it was like an amplifier that you put in a Ferrari or a I mean, it was not, you're not going to find it in the back of a Honda, right? But yeah, I was kind of looking up. So you do remember the Symphony? That's why I was saying.
I do remember that brand. I know a bit about it. I know a lot more about their speakers than their amplifiers. They were really cool amplifiers.
Yeah,
they seemed really nice.
But they had special features like you're talking about, right? So they weren't just your regular low pass, high pass. They were definitely a standalone, like what you're talking about. That's why I was just wondering if you happen to have seen them.
Well, they were a little more like sound quality oriented, and they were extremely expensive. And I'm a big fan of products like that. I love to see what they can really do. And sometimes you're like, damn, man, you know, that thing's $2,600 for, you know, a 4-channel 700 watt amplifier, 300 watt amplifier, and you're like, wow, that's great. And then when you find that little tiny nuance that makes it just a little different, and you go, I can see why some people will pay that extra little tiny bit for that, you know. Like, I mean, you know, I'll have customers that they'll be standing in front of me and they're like, I want it to sound amazing. I want just like, and I go, well, you can do a little extra, and we can run like the audio control amplifiers. They're quite a bit more expensive, but they are a lot more of a sound quality oriented product. And they're like, well, that's an 800 watt amp. It's $700. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, you were saying you wanted it to be like, whoa, you know, I still want it to be like real loud, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, so we get you like like a DC 175.4, and it's like 500 something, $600 or so. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, and it's a monster, and it takes up a lot of space, and it draws a pretty substantial amount of current comparatively. And it's a beast, and it'll sound beautiful, but maybe not quite as perfect as that audio control. And they're like, give me that one. And I'm like, okay. Now there's a lot of people like, yes, no, give me the, like, it's more expensive. That's a good reason. Or just, you said that it is more, it's going to be a little prettier sounding. Yes, I need that. I need that one because whatever. And then sometimes though, you get customers that are incredibly wealthy and it's not an issue for them. And you go, here's this, Audio Dynamics 6-channel amplifier. It's 1200 watts and it's $1,199. And they're like, oh, that sounds nice. And at the same time, you could probably go, here's a Symphony or what's one of the crazy, there's some crazy Audison or I don't know.
Oh yeah.
True or something like that. And you're like, and this is 2,500. And they may be like, yeah, give me that one because that number helps, or because you put them on the soundboard and they're listening to the different and everybody's ears are a little bit different. And I don't know that amplifiers really sound any different to me, not often. And my ears are like really, really good. Because I think bass is like exercise for your ears. I don't think it hurts them. I can still hear super high frequencies up, 16, 17K, and I can identify when it goes away and when it doesn't. And a lot of people don't. And I've never had an issue complained about my hearing ever. I've never been like, I'm not hearing something that I should be.
Unless your wife's talking to you.
Right.
No.
That's selective. That's selective hearing.
No, and I select to hear every word she says. That shit's
wise man.
So
wise man. She's
not that I don't get in trouble or anything like that, but because I when smart people talk, I listen because I'm just real good at memorizing things that smart people said. I'm not a smart person. But if you follow rules of engagement that you create in your head based on extrapolating from intelligence of others, that's a really safe way to be. So if you're a little worried because you're a little dumb, just try to pay attention to when the smart people are talking and figure out rules on how to deal with yourself.
No.
There's another one, right? It's the testing, and also extrapolate when you say something dumb. Yeah. Don't do it again, right?
Yes. Hey, Bobby, so we're already over the hour mark. We like to try and keep these at an hour. Hey, we've been having a great time with you. I really appreciate you coming on. How do people get a hold of your stuff?
GatelyAudio.com.
His cell phone. Does anybody need it? Hold on.
His cell phone number is.
Hey, when I worked with him, man, oh my God, yeah. So I know the questions and all the stuff that comes in. So that was the joke. So go ahead anyway. Sorry, Bobby.
Anyway, sorry. Absolutely. Go ahead, Bobby. Where are they gonna get a hold of you? So you can find it on Sky High Car Audio. You can find it on Gately Audio.
Yep.
Down.
I believe you can find our products as well on Steve Mead's website on the wccaraudio.com. So Steve's site as well.
Okay.
And I think there's a couple other guys. Andrew Showers has the Car Audio Depot news site, and he has our products in stock on the East Coast now. So that's pretty exciting. He has a pretty good inventory at his warehouse. That's a huge piece of information for you guys that is pretty awesome. So if you go to Car Audio Depot, I'm pretty sure it's Car Audio Depot. I really hope I'm not fucking that up real bad. I was super embarrassed. I'm like, all right, I can feel the sweat beating because I'm worried I'm saying it wrong. But yeah, if you're on the East Coast, you can get shipping pretty fast, and he has most of our products in stock now. So
okay, are you still doing custom installs at your shop and whatnot, or?
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you guys see, we just finished that Bloodbath Tahoe.
Yes,
it's going to go back to the customer in about 3 weeks. So if you want to check it out and you want to come by the shop and see it, just make like a little bit of an appointment with us. Just make sure that me or Colt are around to give you a quick demo. So if you call the shop or you send us a text or an email, and just set up a time with us as best you can. If you miss us, if you pop in and you miss us, then, or if we're too wrapped up in something to be able to break away, then that's a little bit of a bummer. But we will do our best to show that thing off a bit. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's not super duper loud. There's things that are louder, but it sounds awesome and it pounds like crazy. I think it's probably right about a 60 on music. It's probably right there.
That thing's badass.
And it's real good. And we worked our butts off on it, you know, Colt and the rest of the team, just like countless hours in the last, you know, month as we finished it up. And I was, you know, machining parts and designing parts, and there was so much of that. Was like the last big project that I did in like 2-dimensional CAD design. So it was like I designed a bunch of parts and we'd build it all, and then we'd like kind of figure it out in the truck. We took all these measurements. Colt had that whole entire shell assembly all built with no adhesive, and then he took the whole thing back apart and rebuilt it all with the adhesive, and then cleaned it all up. And it was like, it was a massive amount. When we had all the parts out across the shop, it was like we couldn't even work around it. It was like, grab anybody that you need to help you to get that thing back together, because this shit is in the way everywhere. And we're like still trying to, you know, manufacture boxes. Like we can't let up. The boxes have to be built, otherwise we're in big trouble. You know, we're building 50 or so boxes a week, and honestly, between, you know, Sky High and our dealers and ourselves, we're right in that neighborhood. We're barely beating that, and so we accumulate. It takes us, you know, we bring about 100 boxes up to Sky High every like 3 weeks. So it's like we're selling 30-40 boxes. We're building 50-60 boxes a week, and we're getting them up there. But then still at the same time, you know, they're sending us drop ship labels, because it's like, oh, we don't have any more of those in stock. You need to hurry up and build one and ship it. And then it's amazing. It's my team is awesome, and everybody works their butts off. And I'll talk all night if you guys let me. So
no, yeah, we got to cut you down.
We got to do a part 2 for sure, because there's a lot of questions that I had too. So
yeah,
we'll definitely do like a part 2 to this.
And John Nolte's been watching, by the way. He just didn't join Sonic FX yet, so he just joined. So he wanted to pop in and say hi. So you'll see him in the comments coming on there. So I let him get in. But once again, hey, Bobby, thank you very much. We appreciate your support. We were doing shows at your shop forever until some stuff broke down between you and the other tenants in the area. And
yeah, there's like a mobile home park, and there was like little old lady, and she just was like, you know, she couldn't handle it. And they asked us, like, look, man, this woman's like bedridden and she's flipping out when you guys are doing that shit. You got to stop. I was like, okay, like I don't want to be that guy. So. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. You guys have a great night, and let me know when you want to do this again.
Absolutely.
We will. All right, thanks again, Bobby. See
you guys.
Hit the leave button. So,
all right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
See ya. All right, one more till he gets out of here, because it's he's still on here. You're still on, Bobby.
There it is.
He's like, peekaboo, I'm back.
There we are. All right, hey Lucky, great talking to Bobby and talking about all the stuff he's brought to the table and whatnot for years.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's do a quick rundown of last week's show. Thank you to you and Ray Pimley for putting it together. We kind of did that as
replacement for the Surf City.
It wasn't a replacement. It's
not a replacement. That's why I called it the Plan B.
Yes.
Just because it was just, hey, that didn't happen right now, so we'll do we'll make something happen right now.
We put that together literally on the show last week, and then put it all together and had the event. So that was great.
I had a blast.
Oh yeah, Ray didn't have the greatest participation, but as I tell you guys all the time, try out different things. Have fun with it, right? Try the Ayahuasca stuff. I know you were trying to just.
I wanted to, dude. Let me just say this right now. Sorry to interrupt you. I am super bummed out that I didn't get in there, because I told Ray, I want to try it. Things just didn't work. It was too risky. Obviously, DB Drag's where my heart's at. That's where I got to make sure I'm competing at. So I wanted to try Ayahuasca. but it was one of those things where he had this long line, and I'm like, what if I get stuck in there and then I got to come up to your lanes, So I was hoping for the best, and just it didn't work out. So I'll have to catch him at another show, but I apologize because I really did want to try that out. I've done it before, but now I'm hitting, some high numbers. That Ray was like, hey, you need to try this out, man, because you're doing some high numbers. No, but it was a good show. He did have a good line of people, lined up there. It seemed like it started off slow in those lanes, but then it picked up, man. He had a long line going on. So I will say this. So at the end of the night, I did my rounds because we were the last ones to leave. So I did my rounds and I cleaned up every single thing that I could see. People do need to pick up after themselves. They got to respect that, Nyman and anywhere that we have a show, it doesn't matter who's throwing it. That's irrelevant. But people need to pick up after themselves because there was a video that Nyman put up the next morning, showing, and I could have swore I got every single bottle. I picked up people's face masks. You know what I mean? Like I went out of my way, but apparently there was a spot that was way in the corner out towards the street that I didn't get to. And it was bottles. It was from that night. You could tell it was from the show. And people need to pick up after themselves. It's really disrespectful. Other than that, though, it was a great show. Mm-hmm. Man, I had a lot of fun doing base race. I had a blast.
I mean, if somebody wouldn't have screwed you in base race, though, right?
So here's the thing. The first time that I got the box from Chad Geary, I came down and I was just having a hard time trying to get you get in any vehicle and nail it, right? I can't. So the last show I was just dropping the ball. I did one little thing. I flipped my visor back up. That's all I did, man. And I was on my fucking A game. I was on my A game.
Oh yeah, yes. 9.9 every time, every run.
Every time. Tie. I mean, and then Doug Stockton. I'm in the middle of a tie with Chris Jenner. We are tying back to back.
To back.
To back. And Doug Stockton.
You were on your fourth tie.
And he was talking to me, and I see the damn timer. And that's what made me more mad is I knew, like, shit, the timer's about to go. But because you were talking, I was like, do I go or do I wait a minute? And then I hear Chris turn his on. And then you went from talking to going, what are you doing? Go. And I'm like, well, I'm listening to you talk. So then I kick it on and I still made it. I actually just busted at the end.
Yes.
So I actually was able to climb all the way there. But I mean, it was a blast, dude. I mean, shit happens.
Did we have people betting on your cars? You against Jenner?
You know what scared me, dude? I was so thankful. The guy, I can't remember his name, but one of the guys watching is seeing that, and I can't say that I'm the only one tying. Right. He was tying with me too. So we were both killing it. Mm-hmm. But one of the people that were watching was in a bet $100 on me on the run that you were talking to me, and I lost. So right when I got done, I was like, that guy didn't fucking bet that $100, did he? And they're like, no, he didn't bet. It was too late.
So nobody took it. Yeah, nobody took his $100.
God, dude, because that would have sucked, man. Because he's seeing, we're doing it, and
yeah.
But it was hella fun. I had a blast. Yeah, it was a good time. Hit my personal best, 180 or 180.
180 already,
yeah, huh? Right. That was in the garage. Nobody was here. A 58-1. Man, yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, what was your other question?
Oh, yeah. You definitely weren't my biggest fan when I was going on Beat the Boss.
Oh yeah, I was like, whoop his ass, Chris. Whoop his ass. Yeah, I mean, it's fun, man. It's definitely. I learned a lesson. Yeah. Whoever's talking to you, watch the damn screen.
There you go.
If they're still talking when the damn timer goes off, then you shut them up by turning your beat on and going in. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Good time, man.
No, it was a great time. We had 58 entries at the event, so really good turnout.
With 1 week's notice.
Yeah, with 1 week's notice. We had 7 people in the 29.9 and I think 6 in the 39.9. So, so good competition in the base race. We had 11 people in Top Dog, right?
Yeah.
Top Dog, we gave away $100 with a special trophy to Josh Tay too, Congratulations, Josh.
I think it was my first time seeing my name in
at
the
bottom
with a minus 1,000 something points. So my app went into protect because everybody's hitting me up. They're like, "What the fuck happened in Top Dog?" I was like, "My app went into protect." So anybody that didn't know, that's what happened. My app went into protect. So I made the smart decision now I did it today. I wired it up to 1.4, and then when I go to burp, I'm going to drop it down to 0.33. So daily, yeah, I made it a little more safer for me. But yeah, good time, man. It was a good time, especially with the short notice.
All right. So, hey, our podcast, I actually have less than 10 minutes left in this thing. So I'm going to hit this.
Let's drop the shows.
Yeah. So let's, bam. That's the one I was looking for. All right. So currently, we are in the 28th. It looks like he has 2 3Xs next weekend. That's Jeffrey doing 2 in Texas. So, and then we got Russia. You know what? I might call the Russia guy up and see if he wants to come on here. Brooks, Alberta, that's in Canada. That's Stacy McClellan is probably going to be the hair trick girl, going to do the hair trick competition at that event. Brooks, that's us. And then Sparks, Nevada, our last show in Reno this season. That'll be Sparks, Nevada on the 28th. We start at 4 p.m. Brackets at 6. So come on in.
And that's not a 3X, right?
That is a 1X event.
It's a 1X, yes, okay.
And then we got Madrid, Spain on the 29th. Alberta again on the 29th. Going into next month. Let's see. We don't have it. So we got the 2X in Fresno on the 4th. We have the holiday weekend, which is the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. We don't have anything scheduled for us. The 11th in Fresno, we were talking possibly of having a show on the 12th. We're looking for a sponsor for that, where we want to do it, whatnot. We got to see how people are doing for points, because remember, you guys got to get your points. And you have to be a member of DB Drag Racing. So go to turnpro.com, click on the link, and get your DB Drag membership. Even if you aren't going to compete at finals, help support the organization that gives you an opportunity to go out and have fun. Okay? We got Greenville, Michigan on the 18th, and I hear a rumor on the 19th there's going to be a 3X. Might be Stockton Beatdown, but I guarantee there will be a show on the 19th, a 3X in California. And other than that, I don't know what we're going to do. We have some interesting information about World Finals. The venue that we had set up, Travis Hostetter already posted in the chat. He's trying to help us secure that spot on the indoor location again. We have currently lost that location. What happened was I called up the guy. I says, hey, I need a blueprint of the venue so I can organize what we're going to do. Then I also need to come by and Moses Martinez says September 12th should be at Jay's Alarms.
Because he lives in Fresno.
Yeah, because he lives in Fresno. Yeah, but Jay's not open on the weekends. He closes for Saturday, Sunday now. Anyway, so I went to call him. I says, hey, I need to get the contract. I need to get the blueprint so I can arrange the venue. And the guy goes, well, you know what? Yeah, we're going to have to cancel. So he wanted to know who was asking for blueprints and why we needed a contract to run an event. So most likely, I don't know what the guy's got going on, but if he's not willing to do a contract, that's probably not the people we want to be doing an event with, right?
Right.
That's just how it goes. But on a good note, I have contacted the Sacramento Speedway. There is 8th Mile Drags that same weekend, and they're way interested in having us out there at the Sacramento Speedway. They have camping out in front of the Sacramento Speedway for people traveling from other areas. So that is an option. We are in talks with them right now as a alternate location. If that for some reason fails because the state of California goes into lockdown, I've also talked to Baldini's, and we could possibly have it in their parking lot. But in October, I'm always nervous about going over the hill. So just those are the things we got going on with the World Finals and whatnot coming up. Let's see. So, Josh Tatu, I want to congratulate you and Lucky both on both you guys having your new personal best DB drag scores. Lucky backed his up, and Josh backed his up also. So, hey, congratulations, Guy, increasing your score. You guys did a great job. Big shout out to Brian Nyman. Thank you for having us there last weekend.
Absolutely.
It was a great show as always. Brian's a great host. He had his shop open. His mom came down, Dad Barry, Ann is his mother. She was there, battling cancer. Starting to get her hair back and was able to go out and be around people again. Great to see her there. For you guys that go to the Toys for Tots that they have there, you just realize, those are great people. All they want to do is give back. They support Brian 100%, support us.
Right.
Great people, great event, great venue. So, speaking of that, cupcakes were smack. According to Kris Jenner. So she brought cupcakes out for everybody. It was Nyman's birthday, which I do remember because that's why Surf City's such a big deal to Nyman.
Yes.
Since day one, that was his birthday present from his parents. They would get in the motorhome and they would all go to Surf City.
Yep.
So so that's a big deal. Anyway, any final thoughts for me, Lucky?
No, I can't think of any right now.
Be in Reno next week. Lots of Watts.
Oh yeah, I'll have merchandise up there with me. So I'll be at the shows like always. I think I'm even doing surf. I'm almost 100% positive of it. Surf is going to be 1st and 2nd, I guess.
October.
So
yes, sir.
October, correct? Yep. Make sure to go to lotsofwatts.com, place an order. Got t-shirts, and I'll have hats in soon. Decals, runner. I got the red shirts, blue shirts, keychains, lanyards.
Trying to get the hats in. They're kind of stuck in back order, or not in back order. They're kind of stuck in transit.
Stuck in shipping.
Yeah.
So
we're really trying to get those to him so he can.
But just make sure you guys share this. Make sure you guys join Sonic FX and make sure you guys share the shit out of this. Spreading it out. We're getting a lot more new competitors, and that's why we tell everybody to share this.
Yep.
So people see it, and if you come out, bring a friend. You think they might be interested, bring some people with you. Let them check it out. Excuse me.
Yep. And piggybacking off what Lucky just said, every person that I've ever brought to the show, everyone without exception has said, "That's not what I expected." I'm all, well, hey, that's not what you expected good, not what you expected bad. Oh, this is awesome. You can see the passion that people have that are at these shows and their love for what they're doing.
Yep.
So people see that with you guys, and we love to share it with them. That's why I tell people, hey, just go over there, knock on somebody's window, ask them for a demo.
Right.
I'm telling all the time, people love to give out demos. And just go ask. And you guys don't ever turn
They're more than away. We're more than willing,
Yeah, you guys don't ever turn people away. So it's great. Anyway, once again, I want to thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Bobby Gately. Thanks to my co-host, Team DC Lucky. And guys, remember, next Monday, 6 p.m., we will be on this podcast once again. Also, share, like. You can find this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Download whatever you can. Just share the hell out of this. Let's get more people involved. All right, guys. The Judge, Team DC Lucky. We're out.
Out.